Hey, how's it going? Today is Friday, May the 1st, 2026. Got a late start going into work today. Today is my son's therapy day, so that's at 8:30. It's about a half hour away, so it takes a little while. So we'll be getting to work right around 11 o'clock today and probably work till about 8:30, 9 o'clock. But today it's a little hazy out today. I don't see any fires or anything, but it's just really hazy. Nice blue skies, no clouds again. It's supposed to reach 78 degrees. It's currently 66 degrees. Yesterday's podcast, I don't know if you enjoyed that or not. That was a little backwards. I was extremely tired, kind of rambling all over the place. But today we're gonna shift gears, try to be a little more fun, a little more exciting. You just realized that little bump that we just took back there is a sign that says dip. I used to get my wife mad all the time because I'd tell her, oh look, they put a sign up for you. She didn't like it. Another funny sign when the kids were little and we used to go on vacation and we'd drive alongside of a mountainside, there would be a sign called "Watch for Falling Rock." And the kids were like, "Is rocks really gonna fall on us?" I'm like, no. There's an Indian named Falling Rock that is out here that they lost, and you're supposed to watch for him. So for quite a while, every time they saw that, they started looking for the Indian Falling Rock. Never did find him. I thought it was pretty funny at the time. It's something I think one of my uncles told me. So it goes way back. Way back. So today, I thought we'd talk about tools. How you get so many tools. How a guy, every decent man, young man, grown man, growing up, in my book, needs a good set of tools. And a good set of tools are something that, a good set of hand tools, something you can use forever, can hand down to your kids, your grandkids. A good set of tools will last a lifetime. Sometimes you buy those really cheap ones you find, at the Dollar General or whatever. Those are great if you're in a pinch for that particular tool. But I can tell you, when you need it and you're really putting some force on it, that tool's going to break. Oh, somebody dumped some more trash there off the side. It's all refrigerator. So what you want to do is you want to start with a nice good set of tools. When I was younger, Craftsman was the main tool that you'd want. Craftsman was made here in the United States by quality companies. It was sold by Sears, sold under the Craftsman name, but it was actually made by different smaller machine shops. And they took pride in their work. And when Sears went out of business, or was about to go out of business, the major shareholder at the time sold the name off. So the tools that are Craftsman now, which they're okay. I'm not gonna tell you that they're bad tools. They're made in India and Taiwan, I believe, and they're getting better. When many years ago, Harbor Freight if you ever heard of Harbor Freight, they would sell some of the cheapest tools that you could find. And their tools, it was a use once and throw it away. They would break right away. The screwdrivers tips would break, the wrenches would, strip, the sockets would crack, and they weren't any good. But over time, they've gotten better and better and better. And some of their tools for the home repair guy, I wouldn't necessarily say a professional mechanic or not. Maybe so. I'm not a professional mechanic. Is there a professional mechanic out there that uses Harbor Freight tools? You want to chime in here, let me know. That would be great. But Harbor Freight is actually a good place to get some, good tools that have a lifetime warranty. And, that lifetime warranty really goes for as long as the company exists. Because you got to have somewhere to take it to. So when Craftsman had a lifetime warranty, but when Sears went out, where were you going to take it? Now that, Bobcat just crossed the road. Now that I think Lowe's sells Craftsman tools, I believe you could take some of the older tools back to them if they break, and they will replace it with one of their newer ones, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I've never done that. None of my Craftsman tools that I've ever bought have broken except for a ratchet, and that was many years ago. I take it back to Sears and they gave me a replacement. But Harbor Freight tools, a lot of those are lifetime warranty, and that's, you're paying a little bit more money, but that means it's a more quality tool. And if you break that tool, you can just take it back and get a new one. You just walk right in there, show them the broken tool, and they pull you a new one out. It's a good deal, and that lifetime tool goes with the tool, not the owner. So if your grandkids have that tool, your great grandkids have that tool, and Harbor Freight's still around, or the company that still makes that still around, they will honor that. At least they should. They used to. But what makes up a good set of tools? Well, everybody in the beginning is going to need a good set of screwdrivers, right? You have the standard flat blade screwdriver, and you're going to need an assortment of those, and they go by numbers. I won't go by the numbers for you because that'll just confuse you. But you need a long one, a short one, a wide one, even that little stubby one. You'll find that comes in very handy every once in a while. So you'll need a set of those, let's say 4, right? 4 good screwdrivers, because you're going to use them for prying, you're going to use them for chiseling, you're going to use them for all sorts of stuff. It's a tool, you're going to use it. The other is a Phillips screwdriver. Now the Phillips screwdriver is the one with the little plus, right? It's a little cross on the end. You're going to want a set of those. About 4. Think of a long one, a short one, a medium length one, that little stubby guy, and a really tiny one. Because those are going to come in handy. You'll probably use those the most, to tell you the truth. Now they do make another set of drivers which are called a Torx driver. T-O-R-X. Not everything really needs those, and for your basic toolkit you probably don't need it. If you buy a set that's already all put together and it has it in there, good for you. That's a good thing to have. Another good thing to have is a must-have. Well, there's a bunch of must-haves, but one's a hammer, right? There's a bunch of different types of hammers. Most basic hammer everybody thinks of is a claw hammer. Now a claw hammer is going to have a smooth hitting surface and then 2 prongs coming out the back that are claw shaped, right? They're like like a claw. I don't know how to really say it. They bend downward. Those are used for pulling nails. And the smooth surface on it is to keep you from like damaging the surface when you hit the nail all the way down. Now that's a necessary hammer for your normal household things. You'll use that hammer all the time. The other kind of hammer, oops, car shifting out here. The other kind of hammer you can get is called a framing hammer. Now, framing hammer looks a lot like a claw hammer, except the claw comes straight out, and then the face of the actual hammer part that you're hitting has like a pancake, like a waffle cut on the very front of it. And that's designed so when you're driving a nail in really hard, it basically grabs the tip of that nail and keeps it on there, keeps it from sliding off the head. That hammer is not necessary unless you're going to be, doing some major carpentry work. It's a nice hammer to have, but you don't need it. Another one is called a ball peen hammer. Now, a ball peen hammer doesn't have a claw in the back. It has a round dome sticking out the back, and then the front of it is a flat face. That hammer is used mostly for metalworking, for pounding things out. It's not a necessary hammer. It's not used for hammering nails. Also, one of the things you got to remember is if you ever have two hammers, never hit the two heads of them together, because that is hardened steel and it's very brittle. And if you hit those two together, it could cause them to chip or explode. Well, I'm going to say explode, but basically fly apart. It could hit you in the face, hit you in the eye. You don't want to do that. So don't bother with hitting those things together like that. Hitting nails is fine. Hitting, I don't know, a robber, that's fine. You can do that too. The next thing you're going to want is a set of wrenches. I'm going to say, like, not just wrenches. Let's go with pliers. Pliers are the ones that look like scissors, right? And they have a little slip in the middle, so you can make them wider and narrower. You want just a regular standard set of pliers, and then you want a set of angled pliers. These are good for doing like plumbing work and items like that. A lot of people call them channel lock pliers, but Channel Lock is a name brand, but they're just a slip lock plier. And it looks like a regular plier, but it's out to the side. It's kind of like a nutcracker. You're also going to want a couple adjustable wrenches. Not a real big one, medium size, and a medium and a small. Don't bother with that little tiny, you'll see it, an adjustable wrench, if you don't know what it looks like, it looks like a regular wrench, but with one jaw on it, and then the other jaw is connected to a little spiral that's in the wrench at the head of the wrench, and you would turn that spiral to adjust the width of the wrench so you can get to different size nuts and bolts. Wait for this guy. And if you get a good one, you can get one from Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever. Spend a little bit of money on it, because that's a really good tool to have. You'll probably use that more than any other wrench that you have. Maybe more than your pliers, because you can get a good grip on things and you tighten it down. Another good set of tools to have, a good thing to have, is a set of just wrenches, open end and box end wrenches, and they'll come in inch, or also known as SAE or metric, and you really want both. A lot of times when you buy them, you get both, and you want the full range. They'll go all the way up to, they'll go up to 5-6 inches in width for the actual head of the wrench. But you just want to get up to, 9/16, maybe a 1 inch, somewhere right in that area. The 1/2 inch wrench and the 9 or 10 millimeter wrench is going to be the one that you use the most. Those are the ones that always get lost. So you'll need those. Start out with a good set of those. Another item that you would want in a basic tool set is a set of socket set, and it's the same as the wrench set, right? It's, a socket is it's a, how do you describe a socket? It's a round tube that fits that you can hook a ratcheting wrench to the backside that comes with the sockets, that allows you to quickly tighten and loosen a bolt. So those will come in both inch and metric. Just buy a good set of those. Get a hitch there. So that's a good set. So what else would you need? You could get a saw, a hand saw, or a keyhole saw. That would probably be a good useful thing. I think we'll go over those things a little bit later. Yeah, a good cross-cut hand saw would be very useful. That's something that, over time you'll probably replace it with an electric circular saw. You'll need a decent toolbox to put it in. You don't have to get anything really big. I have a big roll-around toolbox at home, but I also made like a little wooden tote box that I throw extra tools in that I use to carry around the house, because I don't want to go out to my big toolbox, grab a tool, go back into the house, like when I'm fixing a leaky faucet or something like that. Oh, there's got to be a tool that I forgot here. Allen wrenches. Allen wrenches they don't look like wrenches. They look like little L's, right? And the ends of them are a hexagon shape. And they'll come from really tiny to, good size. Those are very useful. You'll always find something that'll take an Allen wrench. They're nothing fancy. You can just grab, get a good quality set, but it doesn't have to be a very expensive set. And you'll use those every once in a while. What else do we have that we may have forgotten? We got wrenches, sockets, pliers, hammers, screwdrivers, a power drill. You're always going to need a power drill and a set of bits. You could get, a fancy cordless one, or you can get a corded one. If you're just starting out, you might want to just get a corded one. Don't necessarily go, to Walmart and buy the cheapest cordless drill, because after a while that battery's going to die and you're going to have to just buy a whole new drill anyways. Just like for what I use, I have the cordless, but I also have a corded, because when the battery goes dead, the corded one I can still plug in and have a really long cord and maybe an extension cord nearby. Those things work great. If you do fall into the category where you're going to buy a bunch of electric hand tools, especially if you go for the battery operated, which is very popular, and they're very good, and they're all very good. Ryobi is actually a good brand to start with for just the home person, doing it. One thing you want to watch out for is you want to watch out for the battery. You want to make sure that whatever manufacturer you follow, let's say you go with Ryobi, make sure that all your tools that you're going to use, the electric tools you're going to use, battery operated tools, all use the same Ryobi battery, because the battery is actually the most expensive part of those tools. So if you were to buy Ryobi drill, a DeWalt circular saw, and what else we got? I don't know, a jigsaw from Milwaukee or something like that. You're going to have 3 different batteries, 3 different chargers, and when one of those batteries goes dead, you can't use it on the other tool. So it's always best to pick a group that you want and just stick with it. And if you're just starting out, Ryobi's a really good way to go. They are, it's a decent tool. They have a huge amount of options that you can get, and you can run them all off the same battery. That's the big plus, is the battery. Go with like the 20-volt system. Also, with the power tools, you want to look for stuff that says brushless. Brushed power tools means that the motors inside have these little metal brushes that are being pressed up with springs against the part of the electric motor that's turning, and that will wear out over time. When that wears out, that tool becomes no good, and you have to repair it yourself, because I don't think there's anybody out there that actually does repair of those type of tools. And then that's a new skill you would have to develop. Those tools aren't really made to be repaired. Most of those things nowadays aren't made to be repaired. And we'll talk about that in another episode. But yeah, look for a good set of brushless electric hand tools that run on battery. That if you have the money, you want to go that route, that's the way I would go. Start with a drill, maybe a circular saw, a jigsaw, and an orbital sander. Go with the orbital sander, not the palm sander, and not the belt sander. Those belt sander will just destroy everything, and a palm sander, it will work good, but it won't do what you want to do. It'll leave little swirl marks in your woodwork if you were using them for that. But I think that's a good starter set of tools. There's other things you might want to throw in there, like a flashlight, a pencil. You're always going to need a pencil, a tape measure, a really good like Stanley tape measure that has the lines and the letters on it really good. Just get yourself a 20-25 foot tape measure. That will last you forever. And that's pretty much all you would need for a standard toolkit. And then there's the consumable items that you would want in there after a while. My tongue's swelling up or something. You're gonna want duct tape. Duct tape fixes everything. You're gonna want electrical tape. That's the black tape. That's for when you cut wires. Things like that. Oh, that's another tool you want. And don't get offended by this word, because that's what this is called, is you want a set of dikes. Dikes are, it's the name, and it goes back 80 years probably. So it's not like some derogatory name for, what you think it is. But they're basically wire cutters. Okay? So they're just like a snipping wire cutters. So you want a good pair of those. And wherever you see the pliers, you'll see them. They might just call them wire cutters now. But you want a good pair of those. Consumables, you want to get tape. You want to get masking tape. I prefer the blue painter's masking tape. You want to get electrical tape. That's the black tape. You want to get some wire, just some thin gauge wire, like 22 gauge wire, baling wire. That always comes in handy. You might want to pick up something called zip ties. Zip ties are always handy. That's about it, I think. Anyways, I think we're getting towards the end of our little road trip here. I'm extremely glad you came along with us. You're with us since the beginning. Boy, I am very grateful to you. But if you like this one and you want to continue to listen, I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe. Hit that thumbs up. If you're listening to this as a podcast, give me 5 stars. If you got any questions, comments, other tools you think they should be in there that you want me to bring up, leave it in the comments. This is, all of our shows, right? It's for the both of us. Well, anyways, I appreciate you coming along today. How long have we been at this? 25 minutes? I'm almost to work, so I'm going to let you go here. You're out here in Nyland Acres is the name of this area. I'll just drop you off here on the side of the road. All right? So, with that being said, this podcast is over.